Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Friday Night Chill with Will. I'm Will, and I hope you guys have been having a good week or couple weeks. It's been a couple weeks since the last episode, I believe. Last one I posted was with Al from the Al Combo. I hope you guys checked that episode out. That was super fun getting to talk to him. But yeah, that episode went up the first day of Power Morphicon, which is what I'm going to be talking about tonight. So, yeah, I probably should have done it last week, but whatever. We're here now, and we're talking about it now. So I guess first things first, I kind of just want to do like a little bit of a haul, give some of my video viewers a little incentive to watch the video version of the podcast. So yeah, let's just do hauls of like things I got. When I go to these cons, I'm not really ever looking for anything in particular. With Power Morphicon, obviously it's Power Ranger centric. For those of you who don't know what it is, it's a Power Rangers convention. So yeah, usually I'm like maybe keeping an eye out very loosely for something like some like small piece of something that I've like been trying to complete for years, of like a an old thing that I have, but I'm never really blatantly looking out for stuff. The most I do is probably like artwork and stuff. I really like buying artwork at these events. It's really fun, and I suppose we'll start with that. So I did get prints with my membership. I got the standard Power Morphicon poster, and there's another one behind it. I don't want to pull it out right now, but it's a render of like the 5 RPM Rangers helmets by CZD Draws on Instagram, I believe is his name. He does those kind of like Goni Montez-esque helmet variants. I guess Goni Montez inspired Ranger variants. So yeah, that's who that is. I don't know who did this one. That's the artist's signature right there. I'm not sure who did it this year, but the art that I bought was this print of the Ninja Storm Rangers, and this just looks really pretty. I really dig this. This looks really good. This is by, I have his card right here, Aziz Draws. So I got that. I don't know if you can scan. Can you scan a QR code? I don't know. Hold your phone up to the screen right now and try it. But yeah, he is on Instagram and a bunch of other places. He had a bunch of different teams available. He had like a Dino Thunder print that was very good, and I think like a Die Ranger one, and a lot of other stuff that like wasn't Rangers. He had like a bunch of different like animes and stuff, and like his style is kind of cool because there's, outside of the Ranger stuff, none of the character work he does have faces. Like the face is always obstructed in some way, so it's very unique. I thought that was very cool. And so that's that. And then I also got pins. I got a bunch of pins actually. I think the first person I went to was CV Illustrations. I've known Chris for a few years now, and he's like blown up in terms of his art, and he just does stylized versions of tokusatsu heroes basically, but he also does anime prints and a bunch of other genres of stuff. He had like some Into the Spider-Verse themed stuff, and he's just insanely talented. So whenever I catch him at a con, I always want to make sure I go and support him. And so I got a few pins this time. So I got a White Blaster Beetleborg pin. This is one of his newest ones, and this one that he did, I didn't even realize he did it, and I think he doesn't realize that he forgot to post about it, was Ryan Steele from VR Troopers. So this is super cool. And then the last one I got was Udana White Mystic Ranger. Yeah, these pins are super sick. I haven't taken them out yet. I'm not sure what I want to do with them. I also got some stickers because he does 6 stickers. He's really into like hollow foil on whatever he prints. So like some of his prints, they have like kind of chromed out embedding in some parts of the print, so it just makes everything pop. I have one of his prints somewhere. It's of Kamen Rider Build, Key Dragon form, and like the gold in that form is like all chromed out, but it's on a poster. It looks super cool. In terms of the stickers, I got the 6 Space Rangers that he did with the helmets like on, with their little insignia. Because I think he did 2 variants where the helmet the light was off and when it was on. So these are like the holofoil versions. So those look super sick. Here's a couple. There's blue and pink. It's really cool. And I really like it because like he does try to add his own flair to it. So obviously these are the Space Rangers, but the little insignias on the inside of the helmet are updated versions of what they were back in 97 or 98. Because like Pink's headset used to have an old cell phone, but like as you can see like here now, it's just a touchscreen phone, which is kind of cool. And it's just the same type of thing where like it's a more modern computer here, a new DSLR camera here. So it's just like updated things. And then we have black and silver. Silver's cool too, because he's got the holofoil on the gold visor trimming. So that looks super cool. So yeah, so that was all CV stuff because like I said, I was trying to make sure I show up for him because he's super cool and he's very talented, and I like to see people I know, especially for a few years, continuing to succeed, because he is like always busy, always going to conventions, always doing online orders, and I am really just excited to see that. And in terms of other pins, these were more like convention pins that I got. So I guess some of these mostly just came with my badge. There was this one, which is just a Power Rangers Lost Galaxy logo. It's not like a 20th anniversary one or anything like that. It just is the show logo. And then included with my badge lanyard, well, first of all, I got like one of the 10 Cosmic Fury lanyards that they had available, because it seemed like not very many people got this version and everyone else just got leftovers from Power Morphicon 2018, which is kind of funny. But yeah, you have the Dino Fury dinosaur logo emblem thing, and then you have the, where is it? There it is, the Dino Fury logo, and then you have this Power Morpher with the Triceratops. I didn't buy that one. I think that one was I won as a prize. I got a couple as prizes. So this was another one I got. The Mastodon Morpher. Actually, that blue one, I lied. This one is from Billy from Bacchus Collectibles, who's been on the show before, because I met him when I went to this thing. So, yes, he gave me that. That now I'm remembering. And then I got this one as a prize. It's the Mastodon Morpher. And then I also got this Power Rangers 2017 pin. So that's cool. I really like that movie, so it's nice to have a little something from it. And in terms of other things, in terms of like toys and stuff, I got like a few things. I got like more Dino Fury keys, because I wanted the base 6 Rangers. I wanted the Japanese versions of these, because the Power Ranger versions are they suck. So yeah, I got black and pink, and I'm pretty sure I have the Core 5 now. I think I just need golds. I just can't remember where red and blue are at. I put them somewhere, but whatever, I'm sure I'll find them. And in terms of other stuff I got, I think that was pretty much it. So yeah, it wasn't that big a haul. I spent... Oh, actually, that's a lie. I own 2 iShine CDs, and if you're wondering what iShine is, if you're familiar with Johnny Young Bosch, Mighty Morphin, Black Ranger, Green Zeo Ranger, Green Turbo Ranger, a fuck ton of anime characters. Vash the Stampede is always the one I remember, and then I think the main guy in Bleach, I don't remember his name, but yeah, Johnny Young Bosch, he had a band, or has a band, I don't know, whatever. This CD is from 2013. I got a picture with him this year, And yeah, I got a free CD because they were not letting me not take it. So yes, I have this now. I haven't actually listened to it yet. I don't think I've ever actually listened to iShine. So yeah, something to do. And then I think the last thing I got that I can think of, I'm sure there's more, and I'm probably just forgetting stuff because there was a lot that happened. But I also got this samurai amulet from JC Elantra, I think. I mean, if you're in the Power Rangers fandom, you know who this guy is. He's been making prop replicas and different stuff for years. This is one of his newest things. He made the samurai amulet from Power Rangers Ninja Storm. It is very fucking heavy, but it is super cool because it's pretty show accurate, and it just feels really cool to have. And it was especially nice because Jason Chan, who played Cam, the Green Samurai Ranger, was at Power Morphicon this year. And so, yeah, it was all just kind of serendipitous. Actually, now that I am holding this, I actually got the Samurai Morpher, the big size version of this. I don't know where it is. I think it's in my backpack right now. So, yeah, I'm not going to go grab it, but yes, I got that as well. And that was actually a very decent price, and I got Jason Chan to pose with it because he doesn't even own that. So, and when he said that, I was like, I could give that to you. But also I was like, yeah, but I was getting a Morpher for under $100, and in the collector's market nowadays with Rangers, I knew that wasn't going to happen again, and I love Jason Chan as Cam. But yeah, no, that I'm so sorry, man, that one was mine. So yeah, it was a busy weekend. It was. It's weird that it's already been 2 weeks since it happened. The time has gone by so quickly since it happened, but it was super cool. It's always a fun time. It's never not fun. I've never gone to a Power Morphicon and not had fun. But this one in particular was very different because I just felt very comfortable with the people I was around this time. I haven't been around a bunch of people that I can't stand or anything like that the past times I've gone, but this time around it just felt different. I feel like the people I've had issues with or whatever just were not a part of this of this weekend at all. They weren't there this time around, and it was a thing where I didn't even have to think about any of these people. So this year particularly was very good. So in terms of like the people I met up with, like I said earlier, Billy, Bacchus Collectibles, met up with him first day of the con, not day zero. Day zero, I met up with Adam, who has been on the show before, Cadam's Edits on YouTube, who does all the Power Rangers edits. And we also hung out with Daniel, Hurricane Gold, and his boyfriend Martin. So that was fun. Just kind of hung out with them on day zero. Day zero was just like to pick up. It was the Thursday before the con, and it was just like to pick up badges and stuff. It wasn't anything too crazy. But then Colin also flew down for the weekend, so I got to hang out with him a little bit. Achilles was obviously there as well, so hung out with him a bit. So yeah, it was a fun time. I really had such a fun time, and like there was just such good vibes. Now in terms of the convention, I mean, here's the thing. This is, I think, the 6th one of these I've gone to. So at this point, I know what I'm expecting. I know what I'm getting when it comes to Power Morphicon, in terms of organization and just kind of the mentality behind certain things and trying to understand it. And like, I don't at all, and I don't bother trying to anymore because the the event has definitely gotten better as the years have gone, and the way things are run is a lot better. But there still is a lot of room for improvement, and I just feel like the people in charge of it are not open to any of those critiques. And I feel like people have tried, and it's just like arguing with a wall. So there's kind of no point in doing it. So yeah, so in terms of like the event itself, it was fine. I think it touts itself as like having the most actors from Rangers at a con, which is definitely true. There was like so many Ranger alumni there, even people who are not billed to be there. Some alumni just kind of showed up and started walking around. A lot of it was like behind the scenes people. So you had Judd Lynn, one of the old executive producers, Jackie Marchand, and John Telegen, who were kind of key components of like the Disney era. Jackie Marchand worked on Rangers from like Mighty Morphin all the way to the beginning of RPM, and then she kind of like left before that show ended. But I actually got to talk with her and John Telegen because we ran into them on the floor. So me and Adam like just kind of started talking to her, and that was really cool because Jackie Marchand was consulted for the Once and Always special. It was like it was a consulting role for the writers, so that way they didn't have to do a bunch of research, basically, because Jackie kind of wrote the playbook for the first 17 years of Rangers. So she kind of had like all the notes that the writing team needed for Once and Always. So yeah, and apparently from what she told us, she did submit a version of Once and Always where she had kind of more creative control, and it wasn't really Becca and Alwyn that they ultimately didn't go with, and they just kind of did Becca and Alwyn's thing with her notes. So, which is, you know, it's whatever. I'm just happy that she was even approached and asked and considered at all, especially with how weird Power Rangers was being treated at the time, and just still. But that was super fun. We talked to a lot of the guests. I took pictures with like 4 people, I think, the whole weekend, because the fucking selfies for this thing are fucking expensive. It's ridiculous. I think the handlers for these events, like, I think they're unnecessary because I don't think any of this shit is that complicated. But then again, that's me thinking I'm self-sufficient enough to think I could handle running a table like that. But I don't know, because like the thing I noticed is the people who were running their own shit were charging way less than the people who had like representation there. Like the Dino Fury and Cosmic Fury cast, like, don't even get me started with that. Like, that shit was fucking ridiculous. I ended up taking a picture with Jacqueline Joe, who played Fern, because I wanted, you know, the other half of the power lesbian couple in that show. And we also got to talk with Tessa Rao again. That was really fun. She's wonderful. And yeah, I mean, pictures have always been my thing at these things. But this time around, there was definitely a lot more just kind of conversations with the actors and stuff. We talked to Gregor Ronowitz, who was one of the old executive producers from SPD. He's always super cool to talk to because he worked on one season, but his season of Rangers is so distinct from others. It's always cool to see like what his takes on everything were, and just seeing his vision, because he was very much a hands-on person when he was working on the show, and because he made a lot of the alien designs and had a very hands-on role as executive producer during his time. So it's always fun to talk to him about all that stuff, because even like 20 years later, you can still tell that he really enjoyed his time on the show. And sometimes, like, obviously with some of these people, it's not always the case, because not everyone has the same experience, and the reason they're at the convention is different than others. But I'd say overall the people we were seeing were really cool. Met up with Katrina Devine and Katrina. I can't remember her, the other one. Mara and Capri's actresses from Ninja Storm. I always call them the Katrinas or Katrina Squared because they are both named Katrina and it's spelled the same way. So other than their last name, there's no real way of differentiating them. But they're amazing. They're wonderful. They always put them right next to each other so they can do their little group antics or whatever. They're super fun. Met Jason Chan, like I mentioned earlier, so I got to kind of just kind of have a quick chat with him. And I've realized within the past couple years that Cam is sort of just my favorite Ranger, period. So it was kind of cool being able to just kind of tell that to one of these people and just kind of tell them, hey, I really think this character of yours is cool, and I saw a lot of myself reflected in him. And I don't know, it's just cool to have those conversations with these people, even if like in that case it's not very long. Like with him, it wasn't a very long conversation. So, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. It depends on, it's just kind of how you're feeling. It's one of those things where I just try and, I think I hold my own pretty well in comparison to a lot of the people who attend this event, who are a lot of socially awkward nerds, and they don't really know how to talk to these people that they see on television. And I think I do a decent job of trying to keep a level head and just kind of being like, hey, I like this person, they're cool, whatever. Just trying to not lose my shit. I don't think I'm really the type of person to really like fangirl over people. But yeah, it just kind of depends. Met Selwyn Ward. That was just very short-lived, if I'm honest. I kind of wish it was a better experience. Colin went right before me, and he started talking to him about a whole thing, and they were having this whole back and forth about HBCUs, and then Colin got him to sign a bag of weed that he had, that his store started carrying, called Red Rager, and it was this whole thing that Colin was doing, and so they were kind of having their moment, and then it was just kind of like, oh, hey, now it's Will. So it was very quick, and then there was like someone like right behind. There was like a line basically had formed, so things were just kind of moving very quickly. So it wasn't great if I'm being honest, but I'm glad I got the picture with Selwyn, because I have been trying to catch this man at a Morphicon for 6 years, and or more than 6 years, for like a decade now, and I've like missed him every time. So it was nice to finally catch him and just get a picture, because he's great. TJ's great. I'm not gonna tell him nothing he hasn't heard already a million other times, so it wasn't that big a deal for me. Met Johnny Young Bosch as well. That was pretty quick as well, because Johnny Young Bosch is very popular, especially at a convention. So he had, rightfully so, a very long line. So, it was very much, hey man, nice to meet you. How you doing? He like commented on my phone case because it said "Move him gay." So he did a little quick thing with that. It was fun. We had a fun time, and we took the selfie and moved on. So that was fun. That was another one I was just really happy to get, because Adam is one of my favorite characters from MMPR. When I think of Mighty Morphin Black, he's the guy I think of, just because. Adam was more the shy one. Zach was always the more extroverted Black Ranger, and so I always kind of resonated a little bit more with Adam. And I think Adam just got a lot more cooler character moments throughout the years, obviously because he was there a little bit longer, so that he kind of had that going for him as well. So, who else did I meet? We talked with Ryan Carter, Heckle's actor. That we had a quick little chat with him. That was fun. Trying to think of other, because I'm trying to think of the conversations that I actually participated in and the ones I was just kind of like around. Because I think the nice thing about going to cons is like finding a group, so that way you can kind of like, I don't know, I feel like it's easier to meld into conversations if you're like among a group and not just by yourself. I mean, you can obviously do some stuff by yourself too. That was kind of the case with me as well. I think that's when I went to go see Jason Chan. It was the same type of thing. It was, everyone else was kind of like doing something else, and I was like, let me go do this thing real quick. But you are able to kind of have a more of a banter if you approach these people with like a small group or whatever. We did talk to Holly Shanahan, who played Camille in Jungle Fury and Lily in Mystic Force. She's great. Billy became like besties with Bede Skinner, who played Jared in Jungle Fury. It was pretty funny. It was like him and Jack Guzman from Wild Force were like his besties for the weekend. It was very funny. But yeah, I don't know. It was just cool vibes. It was cool. It was a cool weekend. It was really great hanging out with Billy, Adam, and Daniel. It was just a really fun time. We participated in trivia night on Saturday, which I don't know if this is the first time Morphicon's done this. I can't think of a time where they've done Ranger trivia, but it was at a bar that was like right down the street from the convention center. It was Saturday night. It happened, so it was like after the con, but it was a con sponsored event. And so we were like, we got nothing else going on, so I mean, might as well, So we went on, was it Friday night or Saturday? It was Saturday night. Yeah, it was Saturday night. Because Saturday was a busy day. So we went there, and we weren't really thinking of much of anything, but we met up. Who did we meet up with? We met up with I think it was a follower of mine, and we ended up like kind of making a little team of 5 for trivia, and we ended up winning it, which was pretty cool. And not to, I guess, to brag a little bit, I won us the game, so that was pretty cool, because I think it was like a 3-way tie. Yeah, it was like a 3-way tie in terms of points, so they wanted to do a tiebreaker. So they got me, and they got Austin, a.k.a. Omni Ranger, and one other guy. I can't remember his name. He was a cosplayer. I'd seen him cosplaying the day before. But yeah, it was the 3 of us. We went up there, and they did a tiebreaker question. And Austin got his hand up first, but he choked and couldn't remember the answer. So I ended up getting the win for us, which felt pretty good. It felt pretty good. I never really done anything like that before, in terms of like, something Ranger related. So that was kind of cool. It was kind of a nice humble brag. Had a few people like comment on it the next day at the con. And so that was kind of cool. And Morphicon put us up on their Instagram story. So that was super cool. I actually found out today they're doing another one at a bar in Hollywood on Sunday. So I don't know if I would go. I got my mom coming into town tomorrow or today at the time you're watching this. So that probably won't happen, but it's good to know that is still a thing that is going to happen around here. So maybe that will be a normal thing that I will participate in, because it was a fun time. I had fun. So so after that we went out to Barney's Beanery, which is a bar out in Pasadena, and yeah, we just kind of hung out there for the night. There were some other people there, Cosmic, Ranger, and a bunch of the I was going to say Legion people, but they're not even Legion people. You have like Jin, Este, Omni Ranger. I don't know. There's a fuck ton of people at this thing. I can't remember everyone who was there, but it was a fun time. Saturday was just a very, very long day. I was there from when the con opened to, to the bar at like I think I left at 11:30, which isn't actually no. It wasn't 11:30. It was like what was it? It was 1:30. Yeah. I'm remembering now. Yeah. It was a little later. I wanted to get out before last call because I still had to drive home every night from Pasadena back home. So, but yeah, man, it was super fun. Got to meet up with Sean, Snarky Sean, if you follow him on Twitter. He does a few Ranger podcasts and stuff. Got to see him. I hadn't seen him in a few years, so that was super cool to see him. And yeah, he was just kind of like part of our little group. We kind of had a little flowing group, so we would meet up and then kind of split off and kind of do a couple things and then meet up and rinse and repeat throughout the whole day, basically. In terms of panels, we only caught a couple. The panels weren't great, if I'm being totally for real. So from my understanding, the person in charge of programming this year was not the Illuminati, which it was Joe from the Illuminati last Morphicon in 2022, and that had some of the best panels I think the con has ever done, and everything was ran very well, I think. They had a lot of good personalities in charge of moderating all the panels. This time around, they had a different person in charge of the programming, and I guess that person who was in charge of that allegedly quit Friday morning, like the first day of the con, because something happened. He got in an argument with someone. I don't know the specifics. I just know what people tell me, and people tell me a lot of different things. But yeah. So he ended up quitting, and a bunch of shit just kind of fell apart. They lost because the dude set himself up to moderate half the panels. So half the panels didn't have a moderator Friday morning for the weekend. So that's great. So they had to kind of scramble to find people to fill all the voids and all that stuff. And the people they found to fill in were not great, because some people just are not. I just do not have the capacity to moderate panels or do hosting or anything like that. My thing is, if you're going to be moderating a panel or going to be hosting it, you need to lead the conversation. You need to carry it. And I feel like what a lot of the moderators that ended up filling in ended up doing was just a lot of safe stuff, and it just wasn't very interesting. They went straight into asking a bunch of questions of how was your time on set, and you have any fun memories or blah blah blah. It's just very basic stuff. Whereas I think with a convention, I feel like with something like that, I feel like it's sort of a live podcast on stage with a specific theme wrapped around whatever you're there for. So if you have a full team of Jungle Fury Rangers, then it's a panel about the Jungle Fury, the show. You know what I mean? And so you just kind of lead the conversation, and whatever comes up in that hour comes up. Now, one thing I will say that particularly irritated me, and I don't know how this because this was a thing that even before the dude quit, the dude in charge of programming quit. This was even a thing. But when the schedule came out for panels, Cosmic Fury did not have a panel scheduled the whole weekend. And this was the first time the entire Dino Fury, Cosmic Fury, whatever the fuck, the entire cast had been together physically in person at an event since they got cast 4 years ago. And to see they didn't even get a panel was insane. And clearly a lot of people felt similarly, because Saturday morning a revised schedule came out where they had a Cosmic Fury panel now. So that was fine. Again, it was the same type of thing. The moderator they got, they did fine, but the moderator kind of defaulted. It was Christian Antoine, and I don't keep up too much with his videos. I've seen a couple of his videos. I think he does great stuff, but he kind of did that thing where he just kind of defaulted to opening it up to questions. And I don't know. I feel like there was opportunity there for a much cooler conversation and a much more interesting and engaging conversation that could have allowed the entire cast to participate, because you had the Rangers there, but then you also had, I think, Mucus's voice actor. You had Jay Borg's actress, and then you had Campbell Cooley, who is the voice of Slither. So you had voice actors and side characters there as well, and I feel like when you open it up to the fans or the whatever, when you open it up to the floor, I feel like in those particular settings, everyone always just kind of forgets about the Rangers, or they focus on the Rangers and forget about everyone else that is there on the panel. So I feel like if he kind of did a thing where he started a conversation first, that would have allowed those actors to participate more in the panel than they ultimately ended up doing. But I mean, overall, I'm grateful that they ended up getting a panel, because these guys have gotten such weird treatment in terms of like just sort of traditions that other casts before them had gotten, just because of, well, the pandemic was partly part of it, and just the changing of hands from Saban Brands over to Hasbro, just the relationship between Power Morphicon and Power Rangers officially just kind of changed. So they were just kind of part of this transitionary period that was just very weird. Morphicon for a while during the Saban Brands era was kind of the official send-off for Ranger teams, and they would sort of like pass the baton over to the next team, because usually we would get cast announcements for the new team at the convention, and they would show up on stage in the suit. And the Dino Fury team, they were the first to not get that since the tradition had started, just because when they were cast, it was COVID. So there was no physical events at the time. Power Morphicon 2020 was an online event. So, and they weren't even announced there. They were announced at Hasbro PulseCon. So, yeah, it was just a very weird situation that they were in, and they continued to be in over the next couple years, and then especially with Cosmic Fury happening last time around, it was just very weird. But I'm grateful at the end of the day that they got a nice little send-off, got to all be together for a weekend, and they just got to kind of just feel the appreciation from the Ranger fans, because I think that's just a cool tradition that the fandom has had, and it's good to see we got to send them off in a way, especially because we don't know what's going on with Rangers in terms of like new media at the moment, outside of comics. Obviously, there's a few things happening with comics, but yeah, so I was just glad that got to happen. If everything else went wrong that weekend, I'm glad that ultimately went off without a hitch. I think could have been done a little bit better, I think, but I think despite all the circumstances surrounding it, it turned out pretty good, and they got a nice little send-off, so I'm very happy for them. What else was there? Yeah, I mean, there was like a Beast Morphers panel. That was like the last panel we went to, and there's a story about that. We'll get to it a little bit later. What other things were there? I don't know. The panels just weren't my tea this time around, honestly. There were just some that I don't know. I didn't really get. I don't know why they did them. There was a cool one about the Boom Comics. Melissa Flores, Ryan Parrott, and Kyle Higgins were there. They were there to talk about. Well, Melissa Flores was mostly there to talk about Power Rangers Prime. Is it Prime? I can't remember. I believe it's Power Rangers Prime. That's going to be the new comic series, which sounds very cool. They basically gave her free reign to do whatever she wants with any character from the franchise, and she was told not to worry about continuity. So yeah, that honestly sounds kind of cool. The first character she's focusing on is Lauren from Samurai, so I'm very excited for that because I really liked Lauren. So I wish we got more time with her, and now we get to in the comics. But yeah, they talked about that, and they talked about the Massive Verse because all three of them work on that series of comics, like Radiant Black, The Dead Lucky, and something Red. I can't remember. It's the one Ryan Parrott works on. All three of them have a book. But yeah, they talked about the Massiverse, and I have the first volume of Radiant Black, and it looks interesting. It's very Power Rangers Tokusatsu inspired in terms of like aesthetics and stuff. So I will get to it. It's one of those things that's just not a priority for me. But I will be checking it out eventually. But yeah, man, there was a lot of stuff. So let's go into some questions. I opened up some questions over on NGL, so that way, you guys could ask me about my experience at the convention. And so let me pull that up real quick. All right, we will start. We'll start out with this one. This one was, how was hanging out with Baka's Collectibles? Honestly, I wasn't really living for it, if I'm honest. It was kind of whack. But seriously, no. It was actually great. It was really great hanging out with you, Billy. Billy obviously sent this in. Yeah, it got to hang out with Billy. You're great. I miss you a lot. You were really fun to hang out with and fun to talk to. We even hung out for one of the nights after the convention. We just grabbed dinner and chatted for a while, and it was just nice talking to you after having our conversations back and forth online. There always is that fear of like meeting someone in person for the first time as opposed to online. You're worried that you're not really gonna vibe in person as opposed to like online, but that wasn't really an issue. I've never really had that problem, and I believe he felt the same way as well, so that was really fun. Okay, so next one was, what made you decide to go? I was going to, but there was too much drama in the fan base. Well, here's the thing. I have been a part of the Ranger fandom for probably like 15 years now, online. Maybe a little bit longer, 2008, 9, something like that. That's when I joined the online fandom. I've been here a while, and what I know always as a fact is none of the drama online ever carries over into real life, because no one is prepared to actually confront any of that stuff if they care that strongly about it. Yeah. Or even if they care strongly about it. I've had one person try to talk to me a couple times, and it's whatever. I don't know. There's like one person that always tries like reconciling with me. He wasn't there this time around, and the thing with me is, with me and him, there's really nothing to reconcile because we don't have a relationship that is anything to me, that means anything. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think drama in a fandom is a good enough reason to avoid going to a convention. I think these are fun events. I wish things like Power Morphicon happened more frequently. Obviously, there are other types of cons like WonderCon, Japan World Heroes, which is something I went to last year. There's similar events around that happen throughout the year. So I don't think stupid internet things should prevent you from going out to these things, because there were plenty of people that I don't like or talk to in the Ranger community that were there, and you know what happened? We didn't talk because I don't want to fucking talk to these people because they're weird. because they're weird and they're annoying. So it's really easy. I don't think you need to overthink it. So I would strongly urge that in the future, if you are actually considering going to one of these events, just go. Don't worry about what's happening on Twitter or, online or anywhere. Don't worry about it. Just go, because you're going to have fun. Even if you think you're not going to vibe with someone, you're going to find someone to vibe with, because we're all there for the same fucking thing. So, yeah, that's just some words of advice there. Okay, next one. Okay, this is good. Next one is, what's the deal with Colby Strong and Abraham Rodriguez? Okay. So, the last panel that I went to was the Beast Morphers panel. Because, so if you're not familiar with Rangers, I'm going to do a quick history lesson, all right? Colby Strong and Abraham Rodriguez are two cast members from Power Rangers Beast Morphers. Colby Strong was Blaze. He was one of the villains. And Abraham was Nate, the Gold Ranger in that show. Okay? So, when they got cast back in 2018, 2019, Abraham and Colby were like major besties, like super besties. They lived together, I believe, for a little bit. A lot of this stuff is alleged. I only know from what I see on Instagram and like Instagram stalking. I don't know specifics of anything, and so some of this is like through the grapevine. So please, for the sake of transparency and respect, this is all alleged. Okay, and also, like, I'm not trying to disrespect these people. I'm just messy and enjoy chaos. You know what I mean? And I'm also just nosy. I don't care about the fallout or any of the feelings involved. I'm just here for the tea. You know what I mean? I'm just kind of messy and chaotic. So Colby and Abraham were like super besties for like the 2 years while Beast Morphers was airing. And then Beast Morphers just kind of, it ended, with its second season or whatever, the show ended. And a little while after that, Colby and Abraham seemed to have some sort of falling out and cut all ties with each other. And this affected a few other members of the cast. But yeah, there was this little bit of a crack, a little shatter in the Beast Morphers cast for a while, and it's still kind of carried over to today, because I don't think they follow each other on social media at all anymore or keep up with each other. My thing is, I think maybe it was a fling that ultimately didn't work out. That's just kind of my best guess as to what happened. I don't know specifically what happened, but I just know they are two queer men. I don't know the specifics of their sexuality, but they are both definitely queer. But yeah, so they just sort of had a falling out a couple of years ago, and things have just kind of been weirdly tense since. And so there's also been like a few like passive aggressive things said from each of them on social media about the other person. You don't catch it all the time if you're not really paying attention, but if you are paying attention, it's for the girls that get it, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's just sort of that's sort of what that whole thing is. So it was just kind of funny seeing how they behave when their entire cast is together, because yeah, they very much are always like separated from one another, and it's just kind of funny, honestly. And so it was funny, like me and Adam were walking with Daniel. We were going to like some fan film panel that was going to be the last panel we went to for the weekend on Sunday, but then we walked by the Beast Morphers panel happening in the one of the first ballrooms, and we walked past it, and I think I mentioned that it was like, oh, I think that's the Beast Morphers panel, and Adam said something like, I wonder if Abraham and Colby are sitting on opposite sides of the panel, and like we both like our eyes widened, and then we ran back to go check, and we peeked from the hallway, and we saw Colby and Abraham on complete opposite sides of the panel, and we were We were just like giggling like schoolgirls. We ended up running into the fan film panel, right? And we sat down with Daniel, and then me and Adam were talking, and we were like, I don't think we really care about being here. I kind of want to see what happens with Abraham and Colby, if anything happens in the panel. So we told Daniel, I was like, hey, we're going to go watch the Beast Morphers panel. We'll catch up later. And so we ran back because we wanted to see if there'd be any drama that happened in the Beast Morphers panel. There wasn't. There was just a lot of disassociating on Abraham's part. You could tell he was just... I don't know. You could just tell he was just kind of out of it. It was also Sunday, and it had just been a long weekend for everyone. But it was just, I don't know. It was really funny. It was a fun time, and it was just so stupid because me and Adam were being just so fucking nosy for no fucking reason. But it was great. This one says, Kelly says hi. Kelly's one of Colin's friends that he brought. So tell Kelly I said hi. That was fun. All right, this one I actually did not catch before the show, before I recorded tonight. So we're going to find out what it is. What was the piece of merch that you wanted the most but couldn't justify the cost of? Piece of merch that I wanted. I mean... I don't know. There's so much at Morphicon that like is cool and I want it because it's all like Tokusatsu stuff, and I have so many like unfinished collections of various things. But I guess if I had to pick something, probably there was probably like a Turbo Morpher there. Like I really want a Turbo Morpher again. I haven't had one in like over 10 years now. And I miss having that Morpher. It's very simple, but it's very fun. I've really wanted a Turbo Megazord. And the most... I actually bought a figure while I was at Morphicon. It was another thing I forgot that I bought. But it's just like this little... It's just a little dinky 5 POA Turbo Megazord figure with like stickers as details for the legs. It was only $10, and I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. I've never owned a Turbo Megazord anything before, so I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll get this. But I'm pretty sure I saw a Turbo Megazord there that was complete, and it was just very fucking expensive. The Ranger market for toys is just very fucking expensive now. It's very rare to find stuff for under $100 if it's like an old Megazord or something. So... especially for like a Turbo Megazord to be complete. That's kind of like my holy grail. That's one day I will get that. But, I don't know. What else was there? It's kind of the only thing I could really think of. I mean, there was plenty of stuff that was cool there. Some of the stuff I've already gotten. So, yeah. I suppose like a Turbo Megazord that was there, that would have been cool to get, but ultimately I wouldn't have been able to justify the cost, especially with like trying to do pictures and all that shit. It would have been a lot, and don't need to be doing all that. I was trying to be a little bit financially responsible, and I think we made it through the weekend relatively unscathed. I paid rent today, so I think that's a success. So, yeah, I think that will do it. I don't know if I covered everything I wanted to, but I'm just gonna say it was a great time. It was really great seeing everyone and hanging out with everyone. Adam, I've known for like 10 years now, and so that was super cool to finally meet him in person and just kind of hang out with him and just show him a couple American things because he's from Wales. So that was fun. I got to show him a nice taco truck. I got to show him the hat in Southern California because I don't know, I felt like that was worth showing someone. But yeah, it was super fun. It was super great seeing all these guys. Wish I wish the whole thing was longer. Wish the whole time was longer. But I'm grateful for the time we did have. It was very fun. So hopefully we can do it again in a couple years or even sooner, depending on what different things happen. So yeah, I'm gonna end it here because we're at 55 minutes and I have talked your ear off about this freaking convention. But I don't know, man. I don't feel very inspired to make like Ranger related content anymore or anything like that. But it is nice being in these environments again because it does remind me of like being passionate about making stuff. And just because there's so many different people that are there that make different things online, even if it's not something that I interact with or anything, I'm aware of it. And it's just kind of cool being around people like that who are just creative and make their own stuff. Also want to shout out some of you guys, because some of you came up to me at the con and said hi. And that's always really cool when that happens. It doesn't happen like a bunch, but it at least happens a couple times every Morphicon, and I'm always very grateful when it happens, because I never know what the response to any of this is going to be, anything I do, and to know that even after stepping away from making Ranger-centric content all the time, that there is still a group of people within that community and kind of outside of it that are willing to listen to anything I have to say. I appreciate that, and it's really great. And I'm grateful some of you don't go on too long, because if interactions like that go longer than 15 or 20 seconds, I will start bawling immediately. And that was sort of the case that happened with one person. It was great. He was super nice. He said nothing but nice things. It was a great interaction, but I could tell, like with myself, that if he kept going on for another 5 to 10 seconds, I would have started bawling, just like out of appreciation, just because it's nice to get that validation in person. So, anyway, so shout out to y'all. Thank you so much for saying hi or whatever. Thank you so much for listening to the show. If you've been continuing to do so. So thank you so much for listening to this episode this week. If you liked it and you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to the show and the channel and all that, make sure you hit subscribe so you can see new episodes when they come out on Fridays. If you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or any other podcast hosts, please rate and review the podcast or leave comments on Spotify. That's a thing you can do on Spotify now. Any of those things are appreciated. Things you would like me to talk about. Any more details about things that happen at Morphicon, ask me, and I will try and divulge what I can. I'm not trying to get too messy, but it is a little bit of mess is fun every now and then. But if you want to keep up with anything else I got going on, you can follow me anywhere on the internet at WillieJCo, except on Twitter, because that's owned by a bot now. So that's fun. So thank you so much for watching again, you guys, and I will see you next time for another Friday Night Chill.